It is my pleasure to invite Regent Bernstein to introduce our commencement speaker.
Thank you, Dean. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Keywell. I'm having trouble saying that. Good afternoon, graduates, and good afternoon to your families and friends. You should all be so proud of all that you have accomplished, and I'm grateful to you for all that you will accomplish as alumni of this great university. 34 years ago, in 1988, I was Mr. Keywell's junior counselor in cabin B6 at Camp Walden in Sheboygan, Michigan. Brad was a wise old man of 18. I was 17. I wish something in my experience that summer predicted that we would be on this stage together today. By we, I mean me. Let me be clear, I'm not surprised, Brad, that you're on this stage, and I'm so thrilled that you are. I feel obligated first to go through some of your resume accomplishments. Brad was named Ernst & Young World Entrepreneur of the Year in 2019. He is the founder and executive chairman of Uptake Technologies, an industrial artificial intelligence software company. Brad has explained what Uptake does about half a dozen times to me, and I'm starting to understand what it does. Fortunately, people smarter than me do. Brad is a founder of Tempest Labs, a leader in the field of data-driven precision medicine. He was also the co-founder of Groupon, so if you've taken a $1 yoga class, you have Brad to thank. Echo Global Logistics, Media Ocean, Drive-In, Doe, and a founder of the VC firm Lightbank. Brad also serves on the board of Equity Residential, an S&P 500 company. Brad started the Chicago Ideas Festival, one of the world's largest based ideas platforms, now entering its second extraordinary decade. And he also signed, not surprisingly, the Giving Pledge, committing to giving the majority of his wealth to charitable causes. Brad has 2 degrees. He has 2 degrees from the University of Michigan, as the dean mentioned, a BBA from Ross and a JD from the law school. But here is why I am so excited to introduce him today. Over the last roughly 30 years or so, we have had many business conversations, but not once have we ever discussed a balance sheet, an income statement, or corporate strategy. Never. Our conversations have always been about values, about ethics, about integrity, about ritual, about our aspirations for ourselves, our families, our communities, our society. And that is what I hope he talks about with you today. So it is a great privilege and an honor to invite my dear friend, Brad Keywell, to address the graduates. Brad.
That was really kind. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dean LaFontaine. Welcome, family and friends. Congratulations, class of 2022. I am so honored to be here with all of you. I spent 7 years of my life on this campus, so this is very personal for me. So I'd like to share something quite personal. It's at the core of who I am, and it's something that we all of us have in common, but we don't hear much about this in school. I've relied on it to guide my choices at critical moments. When I've started companies, created a museum, and built a global ideas conference. So I figured the time is ripe to talk about it because you're coming into a part of your lives filled with important choices, and I think you'll be well served to understand its power. Now, the reason I know that we all, every one of us in this arena, not just you graduates, but everyone, the reason I know we have it is that we are all former 7-year-olds. Now, what I'm talking about is our sense of wonder. As children, we first experienced its joyfulness, this sense of possibility, childlike imagination. It's a superpower. And I'm going to challenge you to unleash yours. Graduates, your glorious time here in Ann Arbor is almost over. So this is it. Let's consider this your last class at the University of Michigan. And since I've got the mic, let's just say it's not an elective. Welcome to Wonder 101. Class is in session. And I started working on our curriculum back in October 1977. I was 7 years old. It was a cold autumn Monday, and the following Saturday in the big house right across the way, Michigan's number 5 ranked football team would face number 4 Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. The winner would go to the Rose Bowl. Now, I considered myself the biggest Michigan football fan. And I thought it was critical that our quarterback, Rick Leach, would know that me, a 7-year-old, would be at the game cheering for him. Childlike wonder is certainly a powerful thing. Now, how would I make sure that Rick, our all-American quarterback, could rest easy knowing that I'd be at the game? I wrote him a letter, of course. Blue Sharpie on yellow poster board. I told him exactly where I'd be sitting, that my favorite colors, yellow and blue, of course, are the same as Michigan, and that his number 7 was also my favorite number. Presuming, of course, that somehow my letter would get to him, I asked Rick to get me the autograph of every player on the team. I mean, what else did he have to do other than prepare for the biggest game of his life, right? And to make it convenient, I drew a big box so that every player would know exactly where to sign. And I also included a return address sticker so that he could personally mail this letter back to me. An experiment with wonder-inspired action, the first of many which have guided my life. Now, 44 and a half years after writing that letter, I am here, back here, to share some learnings about this superpower called wonder. Wonder 101. Class, this is about meeting the "it's always been this way and it won't change" situations with the sense that you may be the one born to change it. Now, we won't have grades. Actually, it's self-graded, but more on that later. So let's start by defining wonder, our true north as we walk the world, the inner soil where our lives take root. Now, this is a unique definition because we feel it. Wonder starts in our gut. It flows to our heart, and it sparks our mind into action. Name me an extraordinary leader, name me a great achiever, and you'll see this pattern. Now, we're going to have some class participation, so if you would, please join me. Everyone, hands in the air. Everyone, including those in the cheap seats up there. Now, we're going to do something very simple. We're going to locate where our sense of wonder lives. Ready? It's going to be easy. Put your hands on your stomach. Well done. You've successfully located the core of your superpower. Our sense of wonder starts here in our gut. It's where our instinct lives, where we sense things even if we don't consciously notice them. It's where we distinguish trust from danger, right from wrong, like from love. Our gut instinct is also our source of confidence. I view it like a cup. Each time we say to ourselves, "I can do this," it adds a drop until it runs over with the feeling, "I must do this." That sense then travels to our hearts, and this is where our feeling lives. Our passion, our desire, our poetic beauty within. This is where we feel on fire with enthusiasm. We feel alive with vitality, connected with purpose. From our heart, we attract and we inspire others. How we do what we do, grace, empathy, with devotion, and with love, these are matters of the heart. Now to our head, our mind. This is where we think. Rules, patterns, guidelines like this, not that, up or down, which numbers on what spreadsheet. The mind is best used for action reflective of gut instincts and heartfelt conviction. So gut to heart to mind. It's easy, right? Well, as all former 7-year-olds, we know that once upon a time, yes, it was quite easy. Our guts sensed fun, our hearts felt joy, and seamlessly, our minds guided us to play, and play, and play some more. But then school kicked in, bypassing too often our sense of wonder, instruction directed straight at the mind. Stand in single file lines, sit neatly in rows, recite in order, fill in small circles with number 2 pencils. We've been graded on our ability to fit in, follow along, repeat back. Now, I believe education is essential, especially from the University of Michigan. And I say that proudly. My mother, my father, my sister, and members of my family dating back to 1925, we all bleed maize and blue. But while school fills our minds with knowledge, our guts and hearts too often are ignored. Grades and rankings and job interviews have created a thick fog around us, masking at times our authentic selves. So our job is to chip away at this fog. Michelangelo looked at a block of stone, marble, and what he said is that within that marble was the sculpture of David. And the sculpture was already complete within it. He just had to chisel away the excess material. GPAs don't make you, you. They don't make me, me. What defines our years and our lives is our play, what we find fascinating, what interests us, what we imagine we can do. Our lives are measured by curiosity and imagination and passion. Unfortunately, the highway that connects the gut's reservoir of wonder to our heart and to our mind has lots of traffic. Your mind thinks fear and it drives the wrong way. It sends your heart to pound, puts you out of balance. A thought of insecurity causes your stomach to churn, dulling your gut instinct. This maze of detours on the gut to heart to mind highway has signs that say, what if I fail? Too scary, too risky. It was so simple as children. We sensed a possibility, we felt the joy, and we played. Rediscovering that that simplicity is the crux of today's assignment. Now, how did I figure this out? I wonder a lot. I feel deeply, and I play often. When I have an idea for a new business, my litmus test is whether I feel it, not just whether I think it. When I sat alone at a desk starting Echo Global Logistics, I didn't just think that it could work. My gut was on fire with its inevitability. 4 years after I founded the company, it went public on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. Last year, Echo's revenue was over $3 billion. Groupon, which I was a founder of in 2009, it began with a sense of curiosity. Perhaps technology could unleash the power of collective action around consumer purchasing and group discounts. Uptake, an AI software company that, to help Mark, uses data analytics to improve the performance of industrial machines. It began with me playing with an idea. Because it was play, I was not attached to the idea being right. Instead of saying, isn't this a great idea? What I said when I met experts was, what's wrong with my concept? What am I missing? This play allowed me to refine my instinct, and it led me to this clear sense, I must start Uptake. Now, what's consistent about these disparate businesses is that while they all rely on mastery of business plans and marketing tactics and more, they would not exist without a sense of wonder. Playful wonder. The possibility that there are better ways of doing things. The game pieces are workflows, org charts, sales pitches, technology. The game board, perhaps for you it's supply chains and assembly lines, maybe the healthcare system, perhaps the way we educate ourselves. The more playful you are, the less you'll be stymied by worry and fear. Wonder 101. This is your final class in this arena of champions. It's time for our cram session. Fellow Wolverines, I'm going to offer you 7 tips and observations that I've learned to help quiet the mind and ignite the fire of wonder, wondrous senses. So here we go. Number 1, do nothing. That's right. Don't do anything. Here's what I mean by nothing. No phones, no screens, no music, no meetings. Just you sitting, thinking quietly. 400 years ago, the philosopher Blaise Pascal observed that all of humanity's problems stem from a person's inability to sit quietly alone in a room. So this is not a new idea, but what is new is the severity of the problem. Pascal's observation was made before the time of the daily newspaper. Today, incessant noise hits us from smartphones, social media. It creates scarcity of quiet time. It cuts us off from our feeling of our instincts. So we need to do nothing once in a while and create space to hear ourselves ponder and consider, to wonder. So do nothing and then listen closely. Number 2, things should not be the way they are. That's right, they should not be the way they are. But they are that way, it's true. But they should not be. The way things are is like a rear view mirror. It reflects what's behind you, not what is to come. And that's where you, graduates, that's where you fit in. You have a choice to not let things be the way they are. You can choose to do something about it. One day you'll sense something that you think is not okay being as it is, and you'll have the sense, you'll know you're the one to change it. I like to play a simple game. It's called the 5 whys. Take something in the world that frustrates you and ask 5 times why it is the way it is. The first why often comes back with a variation of, it's always been that way. Ask again, and you'll get a list of problems that would occur if it were not that way. By the third why, you probably are going to figure out that it was all about some old protocol, and at some point you'll get to the real reason. In 1973, a random person made an arbitrary decision, and no one's ever bothered to do anything about it. Once you accept that things are not the way they should be, you'll see opportunity, lots of it. Number 3, 1 + 1 can equal 3. Mathematics speaks to absolutes. 1 + 1 = 2. Wonder speaks to possibility. 2 companies combine and disrupt an entire industry. 2 scientists connect and develop a cure for a disease. 2 ideas, 2 technologies combine, and they create a new approach to the way things work. 1 + 1 can equal 3, or even 3,000, where a partner or an opportunity propels you to be an even better version of yourself. That is where the magic equation comes alive. And with all due respect to simple arithmetic, when it comes to your life, don't settle for anything less than 1 + 1 = 3. Number 4, noticing with all 5 senses. Noticing is more than just seeing. Noticing with all 5 senses, that's a higher level game. So let's do it together. Everyone, please take a deep breath. Notice where we are. What do you smell? I smell the flowers a little bit right in front of the stage. What do you see? I see rows and rows of graduates. I see my family. Maybe you see yours. What do you hear? I hear the low buzz of air conditioning. I just heard a cough. What do you taste? I taste a little bit spearmint from the gum I was chewing earlier. And touch. What do you feel? I feel my fingers touching this podium, my feet firmly planted on the ground. This is noticing 5 senses style. How often we see or hear, how rarely we notice. Number 5, fail. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down, as long as it's one fewer than the number of times you get back up. We humans are generally afraid to stand out and speak up. Most of us have been raised to be risk averse, but risk aversion has gone too far. Wondering is not risky. What's really risky is not wondering. And what's extremely risky is not trying. And given that we are all former children, I'll use the cliche of learning how to ride a bike. Lots of falling, failing, until that one extra time you got back up. You didn't say, I'll never be able to ride a bike. You kept at it. At age 7, it was about riding a bike. At age 27, it's about taking on a major project, starting a business, launching a movement. Try and keep trying. If you fail, it's okay. It's an opportunity to learn what you did wrong, how to be better the next time. We all fail. I challenge you to be one of the people who gets back up. Number 6, risk being seen. I believe one of the most important risks is to risk being seen, to risk being your authentic self. We are all of us, insecure. We are afraid that someone won't like us. They might not like our ideas. Thankfully, there are 7 billion other people on this planet. And if one person doesn't like you or your ideas, good chance someone else will. So take the risk of being yourself, of being seen. As a freshman here at Michigan, I ran up to meet the legendary Sam Zell after he gave a speech on campus. I shared with him a business idea. I took a risk that he might not care, that he might hate the idea. Instead, Sam was open and curious. I felt like he saw me for who I wanted to be. That was a vulnerable moment. But that moment when I was 18 years old turned out to be the start of an extraordinary relationship. For the past 34 years, Sam has been my primary mentor and became a dear friend. And in a full circle moment, about 20 years ago, I was here on campus giving a speech. And as soon as I finished, a 19-year-old undergrad came up to me. He shared a business idea. He risked being seen, and I saw a spark in him. He graduated, and he started a company out of his basement. I joined the board. I remained on it until recently, until it was acquired for hundreds of millions of dollars. And I am so proud of him and touched that he chose to be here today in the audience to share this moment with me. Graduates, the point is this: risk being seen. Which brings us to number 7. We are all artists. While this is a business school dealing with money and capitalism, I believe we are all here not just to make money, but to pursue a purpose-driven life. I see entrepreneurs, as well as those who approach business with a sense of purpose, as artists. Art is about creation, expression, revealing yourself. We are artists. Our studio is business. The world is our canvas. We paint with ideas and action. Our brushstrokes, here's what they sound like. What if? How about? It's possible. I believe. And what's so cool is that each of us will paint different pictures, perfect pictures, with our lives, each a masterpiece in its own way. And how excited I am to be among you, graduates and emerging artists, and how joyful it would be to see what each of you create. Wonder 101. Our class is almost coming to an end. You've all earned the right to be here. You've achieved extraordinary things. You've armed yourself with a spectacular education, and it's about time for you, graduates, to launch into the world. I mentioned earlier that Wonder 101 is a self-graded course. The way to grade yourself is simple. It's based on how proud you make 2 people. Not your mom or dad, not teachers, not friends. Your grade will be based on how proud you make the 7-year-old version of you and the 77-year-old version of you. If you are happy with the choices you've made and the way you've lived your life, then you will get an A+. As for me, I've got a while to see how my 77-year-old self feels. But I think I did well by my 7-year-old self. Well more than a decade after I wrote that letter to Rick Leach, I got a call from the office of our head football coach at the time, Bo Schembechler. Bo was retiring. They were cleaning out his office. They said they found something with my name on it. They tracked me down using the return address sticker. I had no idea what to expect. And then days later, a tube arrived in the mail. I opened it, and out slid a familiar yellow poster written on with blue Sharpie. I could not believe my eyes. Rick did get my letter. And just as I requested, he had every single player on the team sign inside the box. What you're looking at are the faded signatures of every single player from that 1977 championship Michigan football team. Be curious in this world. Wonder is a superpower. So ask that question, take that chance, start something and risk being seen. And write that letter, whatever your version will be. And one final tip, make sure you include your return address sticker, because you never know what might happen. Such is the magic of wonder. Congratulations, graduates.